In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to go ahead and add a new calendar page. And this will be, as you go into further months, you are able to add on months in advance so that the two arrows on the calendar pages will be able to work. So first, of course, log into Wix and press Manage Site and then Edit Site. And you are now in the back office of the Blank Canvas website. And so just so that I can show you an example, this here is the June 2017 calendar. And from the June 2017 calendar, I will show you what essentially your calendar is supposed to be able to do. So you are supposed to be able to see all of the paintings, and then you are also supposed to be able to select this arrow, and it will take you to the next month. And so since we are going into August, I'm going to show you how to set up the August calendar, as well as edit some of the coding in this calendar in the instance that you do need to add more paintings in any of these spaces that they don't fit. So to go ahead and do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and duplicate this calendar page. So just press duplicate. And as you can see, copy of calendar shows up. And the July calendar is now duplicated. So the first thing that I want to do is edit this design. It will not let me, so I'll actually just duplicate it and move it over to this side and then turn it around, because this will change to August 2017 and we want to be able to go back to the July calendar. So we're just going to take this and we're going to turn it around, and it should end up at 180. And then we're going to link this button to a page, and that page is going to be the calendar page, which is now currently the July page. And I'm going to change this to August. And we'll of course need to space this out so that it's all one line. And make sure that it is centered straight up and down and across, just like this. And then in here, I'm actually going to go ahead and just delete all of this stuff. That can take some time. You can also do this and hold down the control key, and it will select everything like so. And you can select multiple items and then you can delete them all at one time. So just select, hold down the control key, and then you can keep selecting other items and it'll just tack on. And I'll go ahead and delete these. And I'm not sure what's happening here, but hey, it's being deleted anyways. And so now they should all be deleting. I guess not. And so now, as you can see, we have an empty calendar. Most of these spaces have been adjusted so that you can fit multiple paintings in one space. However, there are still a few that aren't adjusted, and so I'm going to show you how to do that. First, I'm going to go ahead and just remove this icon so no one thinks that they can go forward from the August calendar. And I'm going to rename this to August calendar. And then this one will be renamed. I'll just leave it since it's been calendar for this long and July is almost over. So similar to what we did with the August calendar, we are going to select this and link it since now we do have a calendar going forward. And we're going to link it to the August calendar so I can show you what that looks like. It will move and it will go to the August calendar page. Now, one thing that you do have to keep in mind is anytime you make a new page, you will need to adjust it and hide it because it does end up showing up in your menu and we don't want that. So I just need to be sure to select these three dots here and press hide. And that way our menu goes back to normal. One thing that we will need to keep in mind is once July is over, we will need to delete this calendar page, which you just press the three dots and press delete. And then we will need to adjust the calendar page and change this name to just calendar because if not, it'll show up as August calendar once we delete it. So basically, essentially our menu will need to look like this. So we'll go ahead and delete this one. I'm just going to hide it because we still need it. And we'll need to rename this one to just calendar. In this case, we need to keep this one hidden because July is still here. And then also keep in mind that when you do hide pages, it does hide this page from search results on Google. And so you want to make sure that once you show it, you remember to uncheck this so that you can find this page on Google. And so let's go ahead and see. So now we're going to go to, actually I can show you on this one, how to adjust the coding in this calendar to make it to where you can add another painting. So let's see, all of these spaces are actually big enough except for this one, which is going to make our job kind of hard, but we're just going to go ahead and do it. So right now, as you see, it's not large enough to fit another painting here. Or you know what, I will do the August one just because it won't, if we do it on this one, it will alter all of these paintings and we will have to shift them all down. And since this month is over, we don't really want to do all that extra work. So we'll go ahead and do the August one. And so you'll just select anywhere there isn't a painting, which in this case is really easy because there are no paintings on this calendar. And you'll select Edit Code. And so here is the coding that makes up the entire calendar. And you can just scroll up and you will begin to see the days. So this means August 30th and so on and so forth. Now, one thing that we do need to keep in mind is that right now the August calendar, these dates are wrong. So the first thing that we will actually need to do before we edit the spacing is we will need to adjust these numbers here. So a simple way so that you don't have to deal with all of this coding, you can just copy it. And then you can just Google HTML editor. And then you can just select this first one under the ad. Don't select the ad, select the online HTML editor. and this page pops up. So the first thing that you want to do is remove all of this stuff out of here. So you can just press Control A and then just press delete or backspace, either one. And it will clear everything out. And then we can go ahead and paste our code in so that we can see what our calendar looks like. And so as you can see, each row has a day that's associated with it. Well, we need to look at our calendar and see when August 1st starts. And so let's see, August 1st does start on a Tuesday. And so we'll need to move all of these numbers over. So it'll be first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And so we'll go up to this first option here. And so this would be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So we want to make this the first. And as you can see, a 1 just popped up here. And you want to do that same thing for each. So the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. And we'll need to go through the entire calendar and do that. Another way is you can actually just come over here and you can backspace and add the 6 in there. And then the 7th. So you just press tab, backspace, and then the number. Tab, backspace, and the number. And then you need to go down to the next row. And so this one will start the 13th, the 14th, and so actually what ends up happening is we have an extra row here that we don't need. And so the first thing that we will want to do is, of course, remove that row. Or the other option would be, so we know that on this row here, after the 31st, the 28th and the 29th will be blank. So the first thing that we may want to do is to copy 2 blank rows, which we know to be at least these last rows here are blank, and that's what these rows represent. So we want to select these last 2 rows. We're going to want to copy them. And then we're going to select these 2 rows. We're going to want to paste it. And as you can see, they empty out. So the next thing that we want to do is remove this last row off completely. And so as you can see, this means the end of the row. This means a beginning of the row. We want to take this entire section out. That's the beginning, that's the end, and we don't want it anymore. And so now, as you can see, the end of our calendar ends with the row that we just fixed to where the last 2 spaces are blank. And so that is all you need to do as far as editing the calendar. Just go back through and make sure you didn't skip any numbers, so on and so forth. And then if you think that everything's okay, you just press Control A and you'll just press copy and go back into your Wix editor. And as you can see, it's still highlighted, so you just press Control V, or you can just paste it in there and press update. And so now if you look, you can see that our first starts on Tuesday, and then after our 31st, we're pretty much done. The calendar does end. And so we do have this space, and so we will want to select this and kind of move our page up a little bit, not too much. Still leave a lot of space at the bottom. And then that would be the end of our calendar. So back to editing the spacing of this one. If you aren't comfortable with going to the edit code and doing it in here, you can also copy and paste it and then figure out which row you want to fix and then edit the numbers there. For me, I'm going to show you how to do it in here. And so again, as you scroll up or scroll down in this case, you know, once you pass up days of the week, you'll start seeing the Monday here, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all of these days. Then you start to see 1, 2. That means that you have now reached these numbers here, and you can now edit the size, width, and height of these rows. So in terms of editing the height, that's with these. So it says height equals 100, and that's for the number 1. Well, if you edit the height of any of these, the height for the entire row will change. So I'm just going to go to 1, and I'm going to change this to 600. 600 is always a safe number. I'm just going to press update. And now, as you see, it is now extremely long until we'll be able to add 2 paintings in there. The next thing that you would need to do is go ahead and move this back down, because if not, when you go to the site, there will actually be a little taskbar. I don't know if you see it, the scroll bar here. And we don't want people to know that this isn't a calendar that's automatically on the site. We don't want them to know that we coded this ourselves. So we need to make sure that we make it longer so that it reaches the bottom. So where you see the bottom for sure, and there's space in between the calendar and where the page ends. And so that is how you would go ahead and edit the length of these. If you do need to edit the width, you may want to be careful about that, because if you edit the width of any of these days, it will make these spaces smaller. However, you would do the same thing. You would go to edit code, and you can just scroll up. And so this one says the 13th, and I don't know if you can see, but this says width is 120. So just because that was the first one that I saw, I'm going to go and I'm going to scroll down so you can see the 13th. And I'm going to make it 200. I'm going to press update. And so now as you see, the 13th did get a lot bigger, but it also made these ones smaller. So just be mindful when you are doing that, and just check and make sure that it is something that you want to do before you do it. But yes, that is pretty much all that you need to know about editing the calendar pages. You will be able to duplicate this, so on and so forth, as long as you continue to add your icons. Then you'll be able to just keep tacking on pages, tacking on pages, tacking on pages, and it'll actually just look like it's one page and you're just switching the calendar around.